Good afternoon, everyone. How's everybody doing today? We got a lot going on, as I'm sure all of you are aware. We got a lot of red, a lot of continuous red. Yeah, so I'm sure a lot of people are getting frustrated with that, probably even a little bit worried, and we're going to go over some of the things that are impacting this and just give you a little bit what my outlook is right now. Bitcoin hash rate plunges as Chinese crypto mining crackdown hits Sichuan. I'm not sure if that's how you say that, so if I butchered that, I do apologize. The hash rate plunged over the weekend following a clampdown on cryptocurrency mining by the southwestern Chinese province of Sichuan. An order issued on Friday is the latest move by Chinese authorities against the country's beleaguered crypto mining sector, which has been the target of regulatory action for several months. So here's some fast facts. I'm not too interested in this part, but for instance, this mining project saw a 13.5% decline in hash rate in 24 hours, while BTC.top recorded a 30% drop. It appears that they have cut power to 26 mining projects. This is the latest province to be hit by crypto mining clampdown. The Energy Authority has announced a campaign to end unauthorized electricity use in Bitcoin mining. And then it also down here talks about 1,100 people suspected of involvement with predatory scams related to cryptocurrencies and money laundering activities have been arrested. So there could be a little more going on behind that too. It sounds like there's some tomfoolery going on. Banks fall in line as China's central bank cracks down on crypto accounts. This is pretty much the same thing. This is the Agricultural Bank of China, Ag Bank, which is, it says the world's third largest bank by assets. I know it is the third largest bank in China. A statement today reiterated that all banks and payment institutions must not provide account opening or registration for virtual currency related activities. It then outlined institutions must comprehensively investigate and identify virtual currency exchanges and over-the-counter dealers, capital accounts, and cut off transaction funds payment links in a timely manner. They must analyze the capital transaction characteristics of virtual currency trading, hype activities, and ensure that relevant monitoring and handling measurements are implemented. So, there's a lot of stuff going on over there. Ether drops below 2K. Bitcoin wilts as China tells banks to cut off crypto transactions. We're not going to go through this, but it's a very similar thing. Ether's got a lot going on with their mining thing too, and they're not really talking about it in the mainstream yet. It's kind of secondary. Bitcoin's got the big story, but pay attention to this too because it is a big deal. We're going to listen to a couple of things from Squawk Box this morning, so let's get into it right now.
Bitcoin, Ether, and other popular cryptocurrencies, they are in the red this morning. Traders focused on a growing crackdown that's happening in China. Eunice Yoon joins us this morning with the latest from Beijing. Eunice.
Thanks, Andrew. So Alibaba's Alipay and several Chinese banks are right now reminding their customers to stay away from virtual currency trading. Alipay has been warning its merchants as well as customers that they risk having their accounts restricted. China Construction and the Agricultural Bank of China say that their customers can have their accounts suspended, financial services terminated immediately, or potentially be reported to the authorities. Now, this notice comes after the People's Bank of China summoned several financial institutions to discuss what they said are the dangers of trading in cryptocurrencies. Now, the policies themselves are not new, but we have more detailed instruction. So here are some of the key points. One is that institutions should now try to identify which accounts are active in crypto trading. And then number two, block those transactions. So that's one of the reasons why you're seeing a lot of nervousness here in trade. And also, over the weekend, officials clamped down on crypto mining projects in one of the biggest Bitcoin mining areas in the country, in Sichuan province. There's one city in particular that said that they are hoping to end all of these mining projects in Bitcoin and in Ether in the next year or so. And then the Communist Party paper, The Global Times, said that this clampdown would mean that 90% of the country's Bitcoin mining capacity would be shut down. So where is that business going? We've talked about this before on the network, that some of it could be going to the U.S. or elsewhere. We spoke to a logistics company in Guangzhou that has been kind of promoting the business that it's getting, and they said that they just shipped 3,000 kilograms kg of, or 6,600 pounds of Bitcoin mining machines to the state of Maryland. So somebody in the United States is picking up some of that business.
Oh, I think quite a few people in the United States are going to be picking up that business. Stay with me, guys. Here we got another one. Pay attention.
We're about to squawk. Want to get down to the New York Stock Exchange to see our good friend Jim Cramer. It's nice to see you, my friend. We got to talk Bitcoin. We got to talk Bitcoin because
we have to.
I want to get your sense of what you think's happening here on China. I see you tweeting about Tether. I know you've got lots of questions. What's on your mind?
I want to know how Tether's financing itself. You know, they claim they're using a lot of commercial paper. They're using Chinese commercial paper. They haven't been as forthcoming as I'd like. They should tell us a little more because they obviously are integral here. But you know something, Eunice is so good, and she talks about the idea that the PRC doesn't like people doing things that they're not supposed to do. That's a nice way of saying they're going to come down on your head and it's just going to go away. And I think everybody has to recognize that the biggest players in this market are the Chinese. The Americans tend to play in, they're doing anything to get it rolling. But the guys who really dominate are China. And I think the PRC's had enough of this. I don't think that the PRC's coming down on anybody who's capitalist who they don't control. And I think we should all recognize that President Xi is not like anybody else for a long time, since Mao. And I don't think he's a big Bitcoin fan. It's one man's opinion.
So Jim, though, but then the question becomes, what is the fair, proper valuation for Bitcoin under the assumption, if you want to make it, that the Chinese get out of the Bitcoin business?
Well, I don't know. I mean, look, this is a crucial level. Tom DeMark did a piece about his stuff. He's been unbelievable. Saying, look, basically this has got to hold 30,000. If the Chinese flee the market, I don't know how that can happen because they're so dominant. I mean, they're stopping cities that have good hydropower. I mean, from mining Bitcoin. I mean, guys, I don't think we really know what the Chinese are doing, but it isn't good.
And so now here we have a back and forth between Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, and everyone's favorite Bitcoin maxi, Anthony Pompliano. Anyway, listen to this.
The difference, though, between could they exert influence over miners that are a minority part of the network, right? Versus
they're not a minority.
Of course they are. There's nobody who's got 50+% control.
4 miners in China have well over 50% control.
But that's 200%.
No, sorry. The combination of 4 miners have over 50% control.
Yeah, well, no, they've got over 50% of the mining hash power, but they don't have control of Bitcoin, right? It's not like the Chinese Communist Party can change anything or do anything. There are miners, of course.
If you control a majority of the hash power, the miners are the masters. If you control a majority of the hash power, we have seen 51% attacks on other blockchains. If the Chinese Communist Party, I mean, if what you're saying is you don't think the Chinese Communist Party could go to those 4 miners and say, hey, you need to do X, Y, and Z. I'll ask you, is that the position that you're...
Well, I'm trying to understand what your argument is in terms of you're saying that the Chinese Communist Party has the ability to essentially 51% attack the Bitcoin network.
For sure they do.
Oh, I disagree with that, for sure. All right, hold on. Wait, time out. Put a pin. Hold on, pause. I know you well enough, and I think you know me well enough. We're not going to change each other's mind on this. So just put a pin in that one.
Okay, well, let me ask 2 questions.
Okay.
Do you think the Chinese Communist Party could, if they wanted to, control those 4 miners?
No.
But they can control the IPO of the largest. I mean, like by comparison.
Of course. No, what they can do is they can shut the miners down. Right. But like the Chinese Communist Party does not control Ant Financial in terms of make the business decisions. What they did is they stopped the listing on an exchange.
Brad Garlinghouse looks stressed out having that conversation, man. Now, coming back to this. So the Ag Bank of China reiterates ban on crypto. A statement posted on its website citing guidance from the People's Bank was subsequently deleted. So now that they have posted that, The announcement by ABC, the world's third largest bank, comes against the backdrop of wider crypto. It's just interesting that it's now been deleted. If you go back to 2013, I was not active in the space. I had already been in and gotten back out just because it was like a hobby thing once upon a time. But they also banned it back then, and it's the same thing. China banned its banks from handling transactions involving the virtual currency Bitcoin. The bank came as a notice issued by the People's Bank of China. You know, it had no legal status. It should not be used as currency, yada, yada, yada. So we've seen this before. You see it with them, India. It's like every other week they're saying something different. Moving on to that, some other Bitcoin news. You'll find this interesting. So an ex-CFTC chairman says that the Trump administration popped the 2017 Bitcoin bubble. Now, Christopher Giancarlo is a very smart man. He is very well versed in this stuff, very high up and very connected. He knows what he's talking about. And he says here, the CFTC staff handled it strictly on procedural grounds, but at the leadership level, I communicated with Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin and NEC Director Gary Cohn that we believe that should Bitcoin futures go forward, it would allow institutional money to bring discipline to the value of the cash market, Giancarlo told CoinDesk, and that is exactly what happened. So that's them talking about, in order to get the bubble to pop and to rein this thing in, they would initiate Bitcoin futures and go forward. Now pay attention. With everything that's going on right now, you tell me if this is a coincidence. Galaxy Digital will provide liquidity for Goldman Sachs Bitcoin futures. Just chew on that for a minute. So the Trump administration basically handed it down and said, we're going to use Bitcoin futures to rein in this market and get it under control again. And at the same time, everything is just falling out of the sky. You got this going on over here. And it'll tell you too, Galaxy Digital, their acquisitions and stuff have been amazing this year. They're growing quickly. Morgan Stanley is now offering wealth management client access to Bitcoin funds. Galaxy bought for $1.2 billion, including Vision Hill, BitGo. And in May, Goldman becomes the second major investment bank in the past 4 months to close deals with Galaxy Digital. So it makes you wonder if they're just trying to get things under control, because it looks like there's going to be more people coming in. Facebook payment lead David Marcus considers China's shackling a great development for Bitcoin. And he says, how is more Bitcoin mining power moving to the U.S. and the West a bad thing? In my opinion, China cracking down on mining is a great development for Bitcoin. I agree with that. You know who else agrees with Bitcoin not going anywhere? Michael Saylor over at MicroStrategy. Acquires additional Bitcoins and now holds 105,000 Bitcoins in total. MicroStrategy Incorporated, the largest independent publicly traded business intelligence company, announced that it has purchased an additional approximately 13,000 Bitcoins for almost $500 million in cash at an average price of $37,000 per Bitcoin, including fees and expenses. Wow. Tyson's Corner VA. Shout out to my DMV fan. Moving on, just to support some of that, Pompliano, I don't like to cover this guy. He's not one of my favorite people. I think he's full of it. Guy's like a robot. But it says Bitcoin is heavily oversold and strong hands can't stop buying. And then this person in this article helps him break down the week's on-chain metrics and explain how strong long-term holders are actually accumulating at an incredible rate right now. And he's right about this. And the on-chain metrics don't lie. This isn't, you can go look at all this stuff yourself very easily. Here are some of the key takeaways. I'm not going to cover his article just because I don't feel like promoting Anthony Pompliano. Bitcoin is very oversold in accordance with the on-chain data. Bitcoin now sits on a historically important inflection point for several major on-chain indicators. Long-term holders continue to scoop up the discounted token. Selling from short-term holders continues to lose steam. Accumulation continues to grow stronger. There is still a lack of what resembles new institutional high-net-worth buyers. Those are your whales. And when that starts, buddy, strap up, because it is on like Donkey Kong. So here we have Willy Wu. And he says, oh my, Rick Astley is back. Coins are moving back to the hodlers who never deserts its BTC. And this is just showing, where the liquid supply is changing and stuff. He goes over some of this stuff. I'm not this crazy of a TA guy. I like to follow it, but, these guys have great track records. On this one, it says the shrimps are taking their lead and stacking like there's no tomorrow, especially on the dip. So this is the supply held by entities with a balance of 0.1 to 1 Bitcoin. So all the small fish, I guess you would say, And it shows you that, with what they're going on, it looks like it's still continuing to rise, how many people are buying Bitcoin. Moving on to another network metric is user growth as strong as ever. So this is just the amount of people on the network, and as you can see, I mean, it's back up. This part was interesting. I actually saw some of this on another channel, made me look into it. It says, in my opinion, from on-chain, is sideways then bullish in maybe a week or so. Some downside risk if stonks tank, he's referring to stocks. A lot of rallying in the USD strength, which is typical of money moving to safety. And I think what he means by that is money moving into USD right now. The first thing to look at is to answer, are we in a bear market? Well, bear markets start when no new buyers enter to support price, and that is not happening. We have healthy growth of the new users joining the network. Let this frame the rest of the metrics. So you see here, this is just your entities. Over here it was raging. There's a lot of people coming in still. Of primary interest is capital rotation from stable coins back into the crypto markets. I'll say that's mainly Bitcoin at this point because altcoins are reducing in dominance. All that dry powder sitting on the sidelines has finally started flowing back. He goes on to talk about, we had a huge sell-off by previously strong hands, like new buyers that bought 1 month to 6 months ago. All of those coins that dumped onto the market needs time to be reaccumulated. This is happening now. Price action looks like an accumulation bottom because of this. He's got some of his indicators on there showing you what he's talking about. Exchange flows, 2 week equals solid red, 1 week is dotted red, showing that buying is happening but not yet at an exaggerated pace. So likely we have some time to burn before upward price action can launch. So it's not that people are not buying Bitcoin, it's just the news, man. People just get so crazy so fast. It's that herd mentality just straight down the drain. So now let's look at some short range indicators. If we are in a bull market, he went and actually edited this, or didn't edit, but corrected it earlier. We know this is the case from user growth metrics. When this resets to 1.0, it is a great time to buy the dip, and it's showing you where everything is. Boom, boom. NVT signal is a no-brainer. It is a buy zone. I'm not even familiar with what some of this stuff is. You guys might want to look into it yourself, but this is what he's providing to his to everybody, to his followers. Using NVT to value the network, we are statistically oversold from a fundamental at historic levels. Note we are devoid of mania top before the sell-off. This sell-off happened when prices were well within fair value, so it doesn't match the start of a bear season, and that's a very popular narrative. A lot of people think there's going to be the blow-off top situation is what comes next. My only concern for downside risk is if we get a major correction in the equities market, which would pull Bitcoin price downward no matter what the on-chain fundamentals may suggest. Noticing USD strength on the DXY, which suggests some investors moving to safety into USD. Then here's this guy, Mr. Parabolic. He said, here's a simple visualization of noobs selling to savvy bulls. And I'm going to slightly edit his wording. It is so fascinating to watch this in slow motion. Then people complain about the rich elite and why life is tough, etc. It's like, bro, you listen to a 20-year-old noob investor on Twitter. What did you expect? And this shows you that this is the total supply held by long-term holders just for Bitcoin. We're focused on Bitcoin because we all know it drives the market, whether we like that or not. It's a fact as of now anyway. And as you see, as it's on the way up, all these people are accumulating, and then they kind of start chilling out. We're not holding as much anymore because it's appreciated, and as it continues to appreciate even more, you see where it looks like they're just dumping it, and them slowly dumping it all through here until it starts to come on its way down. And this is where your typical retail investor freaks out, thinks the sky's falling, we got to sell it before we lose everything, oh my god, what's going to happen, yada yada yada. Well, as this is all happening, you see these long-term holders and all these whales, they start holding more and more and more and more and more and more and more. So you're seeing that on the backside of things, and these are the things that you might not see if you don't know where to look for that. Luckily I'm plugged into Twitter, and there's a lot of people talking about this stuff. And we'll finish off with my favorite blockchain backer. You should go watch this video. I'm not going to play it on here, but he says big buying shown on-chain data as Bitcoin price, altcoin market, and XRP consolidate. And my opinion based off of what all these people are saying and kind of putting it all together, and it looks like what we can expect is you're going to get some sideways motion, and there is still going to be another break to the upside. That is what is expected by majority of the people I follow. By the majority, vast majority, I would say. I see some people thinking, we're going to 20,000, we're doing this and all this. Most of the people I talk to, they think that Bitcoin should range between $70,000 and $100,000 before the end of this cycle. Everything else is going to go with it, and then when all that starts happening, then you want to start paying attention, because this market historically has up to 90% corrections after mass bull runs. So that is a real thing to watch for. Who knows how low the price goes then, but that's going to do it for me on the video. I do have some other stuff coming out later, so make sure you like the video, subscribe, tell your friends, and y'all have a good day.